R7 mini track build, so let's get started. What has already been done? Okay, so we've jumped on this one in the middle a bit. So it's already had rear sets, Olin's rear shock, different clip-ons, a few other little bits and bobs, full system. So where are we up to? What are we doing?
What's the system?
It's actually a full Yoshimura. So not a bad system. GB racing protection. So we've got quite a bit to do on this. So we're gonna obviously map it to suit the Yoshimura system and the lovely, if you can get in there, DNA stage 2 with the open lid. So it's gonna have mapping. We are gonna do full Samco hose kit. So I think it's got some lovely blue hoses. We're getting rid of the ABS because ABS is short in general. We're going to go for racing lines. We are fitting an OEM quick shifter sensor, Maxton suspension on the front, internals from our friends at Maxton. We love Maxton. ABS emulator, part of the ABS delete. And whatever. 1 second while I get my magic pad out. Spider fuel cap. So we've done ABS delete. Okay. GYTR lock stop. So it's within the ACU spec regulations. Got a checkers link for him on his chain because he's had to go with that and he's not happy with it. And we have got a lock wire so it'll pass scrutineering. Let's just make a start and rip things off. Beverages, we've always got to have beverage. It's an MT-07 referring to. Nah. We haven't seen a great deal of them yet, considering how popular they are, because trying to get parts for them is a nightmare. But it's not too dissimilar. Yes, there's differences here and there, and the power's a bit better, but for the most part, engine layout's the same. Airbox is the same, throttle body's the same. Once you take the skin off, it's quite familiar, but they went well anyway. You know, there was loads of lads doing super twins with the MT-07, so it made sense to bring out an R7 really. So it'd be cool. They're nice to work on. They're not really a particularly hard bike to get apart. So in completely unrelated news, set of spark plugs I've done before. Found that stuck on top of it. Isn't that factory? Hello. Factory stuff, only a P3. Charged battery is a happy battery. And before anyone says, oh, it's got an arm bolt and that, it's low torque, low impact, designed specifically for what we are doing. I'm just going to rip everything off first, so I'm going to get the tank off, and then there's not much left to take off. But tank off, and then I'm going to make a start on what shall I do first? Shall I do brake lines or the coolant system first? So what? I'm going to do both. So I'm going to drain the brake system first, get all the ABS lines off it, because that's just a shit job. It makes your hands horribly dry. Wear gloves. Don't be like me when there's gloves over there and you're not wearing them. So I might put gloves on. Get the ABS lines off, drain it all. We can look at them running his race lines, get all that, not bled up, but just get it all on, get the system back sealed. Happy days on that. Then I might drop the coolant, rip all the coolant lines off. There's not a massive amount of coolant lines on this. Or coolant hoses, sorry. But obviously because it's a racing bike and it's not just a track bike, it's got to run distilled water rather than coolant, because they're not allowed to run coolant. So it'll be a case, flush that out, fill it with distilled water. He's got an expansion bottle which he was unsure whether to run, but that one's quite neat and tucked away, to be fair. It's not really exposed at all, so I might leave that in situ. See what we think, and go from there. They look like a complete set, don't they? They're not a builder line, so that's good. That's one less thing for us to do, mate. We can just put them on. So, question for the comments, you've just seen the lines. Would you have gone for the standard colour, or should you have gone for blue or a different colour? You know, if you're gonna go for racing lines, you might as well go for a nice colour, mightn't you? No? I'd go for a luminous pink, and then I'd have a set of green pink domino grips, and I really would, you know I would. Stand out, be seen, why not? Why the not, heck not? So actually you can see already that's what we're going to be getting rid of. So obviously by law all bikes now have ABS. Question we get asked a lot, especially online, why would you be taking that off? It's simple, it holds you back. So if you think about it, if we're flying into a corner and grabbing a whopping great big handful of brake to slow us right down. The bike doesn't know where it is. All right, someone's going to say, well, some bikes have track mode, okay, yeah. But most bikes don't know where they exactly are, so you going at speed and grabbing a big massive handful of brake, your bike's going, oh dear, car's pulled out here, there's something going on, we're trying to slow down. So it's going to start to stop that wheel trying to lock. Now, if you're on track, you can obviously go that little bit further and you've got that feeling, you know, when you're coming to bend. So in the end, it's stopping you, it'll hold you back from getting a faster lap time, being quicker into a corner, quicker around the corner. So by going to a race setup, you take that out of the system. Now, there's two ways in which you can delete an ABS system on most bikes. We can, as you can see here, there's your lines. We'll take all this off and you can either put blank and bolts in there and leave this pump plugged in and sealed, because it needs to see the pump because a lot of systems run through it. Or you can buy what's called an emulator or ABS delete. Some of them are called a few other things, but it will mean that we can disconnect it from its plug and you basically plug a dongle here, and that will allow the bike to see everything it needs to see to not put it into limp mode or throw any faults up without having the ABS pump there. So benefits to not having the ABS pump: it's a big chunk of space that you can have on a bike, say a road bike. Also, it's a big lump of weight, especially if you're not wanting to use the ABS system anymore, so you might as well completely get rid of it. This one thankfully is going. We're going to use the i2M ABS emulators, and yeah, let's crack on and see who that is. Hello.
Getting started. Don't need an afternoon.
Nice. Tank is off. So, how do you take an ABS system off? You take it off. It's a simple answer. So, what I normally do is I'll drain as much of the system out as I can. So, for whatever reason, I always normally find myself starting with the back one. So, on this, I'll most likely crack rear caliper. We've got a lovely snap-on brake bleeding tool now, vacuum one. So, rather than sitting there and pumping away, I'll just stick it on, let it bleed itself dry or as much as possible. Then we'll just start working our way up. So, I normally just go from the back up. Obviously, you've got little fiddly bits here and there, but you can normally work it out. You may have to bend the pipe here and there as well just to wiggle it out, but they normally come off quite easy. We'll get that off. We haven't got the emulator just yet. That is coming, well, it's ordered, it's on its way. That'll just get left there for now. I'll pop them bolts back in, out the way for now. And then we'll lace the new lines dry. And that's John blowing his nose rather aggressively. Snazzy brake bleeder. So we put it on there, airline on there, creates a vacuum, sucks it out. Easy. What he did. Lad, why you stop recording me.
You let go of that now.
It won't go anywhere, it's secure. The airline's not even on, so I can't do anything anyway. Well, we'll find out now.
5, 3 or 2?
4 or 5. Just a lazy man's way of doing it, to be fair. And just let it drain and have a cup of tea. Do that a few moments later thing, and then there you go. We'll be back in a minute with a completely dry back line.
That guy fucking like.
Tyre changer, tyre room. Dyno room.
Oh, to replace the blue one?
Yeah, so you got green everywhere.
The only problem is it's too short.
5 metres will be enough.
I don't know if it's stretched. That one sometimes not long enough.
Well, that one can stay in there then, so you got one for there. Space.
Go there. Look the extra down, there.
Oh yeah, you got one there.
Yeah, put one there.
There we go.
Put it there. Put a springy line here. Get it next to the retractable. Yeah.
I'm not trying to improve this workshop anymore. So he said something about which I wasn't aware of. Apparently there's a reservoir relocation bracket. Now I personally would just put a Race Talks little race one on there. Okay. Little race one rather than having a big bracket and all this around there, but hey ho, whatever. But yeah, there's just a few things inside, so just basically undoing things. So all I've done so far is took all the plastic clips that keep these together. There was one bolted there, I've took that off. I've just took that zip tie off there. So there is a bolt there. It's going to be a little bit of a pig to get to, but no danger. We will undo that bracket, which should allow us to lift this up, undo it from there, and a lot of that line should come out from behind that frame. We may just have to undo it up there because it looks like it's all one piece, unless there's a swage fitting back there. Back frame cover off now, just to get a bit more access, see what's what, and just keep taking bits off till it comes off. Always get the right size Allen key. And that's clearly not the right size, that's going to be way too big, so I've got an Allen key missing, and now we've got a situation. Oh no! Lovely jubbly. So, we're going to be able to get that zip tie out the way it's doing my head, and that I've just cut. I'm going to undo them from there. I'm going to undo that bracket, and then that'll go that way, that'll go up there. That'll be the back line off, and then I'll fit the new back line, just because then the system's all sealed and not dripping brake fluid everywhere. I have it on the walls, but have some cloths or rags handy, because you are going to get, no matter how careful you are going to get a bit of brake fluid everywhere. So yeah, just take your time with it. Obviously you never want to rush brakes, but yeah, just expect a little bit of mess, but as long as you keep on top of it, you'll be fine. We've got a load of these little guide clips, so people always wonder how to take them off. Just literally, it's as easy as that. That's all the force that needs to be on them. So I'll try and get this one. See, it's minimal force. If you're really swinging on these for whatever reason, just take a step backwards. All you do is cut into each other. Keep hold of them, because even though we're removing the ABS system, we still need the wheel speed sensors, because things like traction control and stuff like that, it's still going to need to see them. So they're still coming in really handy for guiding your cable with your new brake line. So make sure you keep hold of them, don't be throwing anything away till you're completely done. I wouldn't throw any of it away personally, apart from these ABS lines, they're going straight in the bin. Slop. Protein and oats mixed with water, because I'm an athlete, and athletes do these types of things. If I was a car, I'd be a Ferrari. Broken all the time.
Which one?
The one in the scrapyard. Right. Okay, so on the super duper fast forward video, all I've done is I've laced the line, bolted it on. Noticed that there's a clip missing there for that, so I've noted that down to sort that anyway. So because this mounts differently, this is a little bit Dewberry Perkins, dodgy wodgy, so that's balanced precariously. So I've bled it through with the vacuum. It's always good practice, do it manually as well, you know, the old school pump, hold it, crack it. So I'll do that now a few times, make sure there's no air in the system, and then that's the back line done, and we'll move on to the front. Okay, just done a few quick manual pumps of the rear braking manually, as you would if you didn't have a super snazzy vacuum bleeder, and to be honest, barely any air come out of it. So just getting this started, and then we can sit back in its place. Not a bad little relocation bracket really, if relocation brackets are your thing. So as I say, have a rag handy all the time, just a little bit of residue. We'll wash the bike off anyway when we're done. Double check it, but really good back brake now. So that back brake's fully independent. It's not governed by the ABS or anything at all now. It's hard as you want on the back, and it'll just lock, or if ever it's so. Back brake done. They're really pissing me off the way they're just dripping on me constantly, and on me tools, which drives me mad. Look at the state of the bench. So take them off from there, drop bench down, and we'll just work our way, drain the system, and we'll just work along getting all the front lines off, and then it'll just be a case of, I don't think it's a H-line kit he's bought, I think it's just 2 race lines. So double banjo at the top, 2 lines down, obviously one longer than the other for the far side. Put them on, bleed it through. That is the braking system done. It really is as straightforward as that, until we get the emulator, which then it'll just be a case of take that off its mounting point. Now people say, well, why don't you just take it off? If we leave it plugged in, it means we can get on with the mapping. So we don't have to wait around, or because the guy's not in a rush, but he's only got a couple of weeks. So the sooner we can get this work done, the sooner he can have it back, do his final checks or whatever he wants to do. So yeah, that's why we leave that in situ. If we get, I'll check the tracking, it says the eliminator's going to come in a day or so, I'll rip it off and it saves messing about with it. So, drop the bench. Might look a little bit brutal, but honestly it's not. So, undone that little clip. I'm going to push this little quick release plastic clip that's a guide for these out of there. The customer never wants these lines putting back on, so rather than risking scratching things, stuff like that, we'll bend the lines to suit. They're really malleable, so we're going to bend them straight to pull them out. So I'm going to pop that off, which is nearly out now with my thumb. That never happens first time, so that made me look really good. Ta-da! Straighten them out, pull them out, and that's all the lines off to basically the pump off, ready to go. So back to your super speedy, quick video while I struggle with these lines, probably for about 2 minutes. Okay, so top tip for anyone who's doing that, the brake lines are easier if they go down. So as you can see, if you're not putting them back on, it's really useful that you can persuade them by a bit of bending, and it means you have 0 marks on the frame or anything else for that matter. So slightly fiddly, but what did that take? Minute and a half of just a bit of wiggling and jiggling, but go down with them. That's what I found anyway. So let's move on to the front. Okay, so on the super duper time lapse, you just see me bleed it through the vacuum and then manually bleed at the top, and already got a really, really good brake. That took what, Max? 2 minutes. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to go through it and manually bleed it anyway for peace of mind, make sure I'm happy that there's absolutely no air left in that system, but considering you can be there all day trying to get some form of brake, they're worth the weight in gold, them kits. You've got to buy a decent one though. We bought a few cheap ones at first and they were no good. So just going to check everything for leaks, wipe everything down, route the ABS lines on the front, finish them because we've got some nice little clamps that hold them together. So I'm just going to dig them out, get all that sorted and buttoned up. Then that's the braking system done. Then I'll drop coolant and we'll get onto the coolant system. Drop some coolant. Drop some coolant, not that bolt. Put that bolt in my pile. It's normally a drain bolt here, so we're going to have to take the cover off. So take cover off, it's normally a drain bolt around here. Drain, pipes off, pipes on. Fill, done. It's coolant system. I don't know what more to say really. Tool, new tool there, another new tool. Okay, radiator hose pick from Snap-on, amazing tool. Let me look like I know what I'm doing to this. There we go. That worked quite well, didn't it? But yeah, it just allows you to just get that much behind. So, okay, recap. Found where the fan switch goes. I've took that off. Took the bottom hose off. I've slid it off the post because we took the mounting bolt out. So now it's just hanging off the actual hose line that we want. He's a knobhead. So it should come off fairly easy. So just got to get to that clamp. And we're not far away. So Samco have a lifetime warranty, but it's only valid if you use their clamps. People say why? Because they're not serrated on the inside of the smooth, so nothing can get caught and rip and tear. So that is why you buy. They're all sold separately, but that's why I always recommend when you buy a Samco hose kit from us, get the clamp kit as well. Update. Because you disappeared yesterday, didn't you? Yep. Not good enough. Okay, so what did we do? Where did we get up to?
You were putting the hoses on.
Okay, hoses are on.
Yep.
So all hoses on, all the way through. Not too bad of a job, to be fair. obviously I just take a little bit more off the news to make life easier, because yes, there's rain bolts there, but I take this off because you can slide it on, slide it off. So that's all on anyway. Filled it up with distilled water. Obviously I haven't ran it up yet to top that up, because we'll do that on the dyno and wait for the emulator to come so we don't have to worry about fault codes. So that's on. Moving back around here. So he had an OEM quick shifter that he picked up for us to fit, so I put that on this morning. It's just a standard OEM quick shifter.
These not come with one?
I assume the base model doesn't. Maybe the model up does. I don't know. Maybe it'll be an optional extra. So that's that. He wasn't overly happy with his rivet on his chain. It's a touch. I thought we'll have a look at that. So we're just going to check the rivet on that, just go over it, make sure that's okay. And then it's a case of, once I run it up, he wants the lock wiring doing, obviously to get through scrutineering. I won't do that till we've ran it up again, just in case, because it looks like, yes, it's up, so that's why it looks full. That oil looks absolutely brand new, even though the filter doesn't. Bit weird. But I'll run it up and make sure that oil level's correct before I lock wire it all up. Ideally, you'd want a racing one with the little thing on, but we'll put a Jubilee clamp round there and lock wire, make that safe. So then, lock wiring, we've got a lock stop coming from GYTR, but that's about 5 days because it's coming from Europe, so we're waiting for that. And then the last big job is going to be, apart from the mapping of course, is going to be the Maxton front fork internals. So I'm going to drop Maxton a message today, get a lead time on that. So really, not going to be a massive amount more progress for the next few days on this. I'm just going to check that link, then this can come off for now. Probably do the mapping as soon as the ABS emulator lands, do that, and then maybe get the forks out to Maxton then. Maybe do it that way. We'll see.